iPad viewpoint. Why not? Um, what can I say? Konnichiwa. Ore wa Thomas. So I've been trying to learn Japanese since trying to give up social media plus video games, whatever, during Lent. There's little caveats to it, so I have my notes over here. But like the caveat where it's like as a continuing founder log, whatever this show I'll call it is. Like I have to have I have to be able to use this stuff, right? It's like a 52-week commitment. Now, I find fasting a little difficult. Maybe it's because I'm already on a cut, so I have to work around that and try to see how that works out for me. I might have to just give up the fast because I think while being on a caloric deficit or something where you're like, so far it's been fine, but like I don't know how to describe it. And then trying to, doing the rosary every night or maybe falling asleep to, since like high school or whatever, listen to women whispering, ASMR, throw that on, ASMR rosary, whatever, going through it. And I mean, I don't know, there's a way to go around things, but other than that, this episode is more so writing it out, learning Japanese, trying to capture that, and just general thoughts on Lent, or not Lent, but kind of a traditions, not rituals. Well, I guess it is sort of in a sense. Writing it out. So there's I haven't looked at the book. I've been out of town all day, so I haven't had access to everything immediate. Well, whatever. And for the sake of clarity, it's like there are 3 to 4, maybe I think 3 to 4. I believe 3 to 4 positions that are 2 or 3 of them are getting covered called away, but 3 to 4, maybe 5 had covered calls on them in the company book. This is bugging me. Where this is going to get wiped off the table. How do we capture our gains down the road with this freed up capital? So let's say roughly a fifth of the company is getting not liquidated, but give or take roughly liquidated or freed up within portfolio capital versus overall company capital. And that'll be interesting. There's already a trade I have in mind. I misinterpreted the merger math for this one firm. So instead of it being 1-for-1 share plus cash, it's just the conversion plus cash, and it's already priced in, sadly. So at least me personally within my Roth, I'm trying to arb that. I don't know for certain how that'll work out, but expecting a rally within the merger or the acquirer firm, those shares are worth more. So now they're kind of anchored to the value of the other company. And in layman's terms, it's kind of like these are paired up. Once a company signs something that's basically a definitive document, the buyout price basically kind of sticks up. And I did this before with Activision, way back when I was I believe it was a senior in college. And it took a whole year for that whole process to happen. And then Microsoft finally bought, Activision for what, $70-ish a share. This was the easiest trade ever. You just had to be patient. And granted, I grew up, I'm a freaking gamer, dude. I've got my controllers over here, my Xbox and PlayStation off screen, gaming rig, right? When you've been in an industry or when you've understood an industry, whatever, you have a passion for it. things are just kind of like, yeah, this is a no-brainer. This is like a, park and wait, easy money. And that was, I believe, a 40% return. Granted, I didn't have much stock, and obviously, when you're like 22, you're not gonna have much. So that was a fun ride, I think, trade wise. And then learning Japanese, I'm trying to learn it like organically. I know 4 languages. This will be my 5th. I know them to varying degrees. Yeah, so like being a dual citizen or having an immigrant mother, like linguistics or language is very important to me. But people or books don't really teach it right, at least in a way that's organic or structural. Like, how do you kind of go about and learn something? How do you go about and mechanically learn something from the ground up, from scratch? Some would argue going straight to the textbook. Some would argue tutor. When you're bootstrapped and like the only thing you have is a textbook, you kind of want to just go straight to YouTube. So I went to YouTube. It's been something like hiragana and katakana have been a pain in my butt to want to like actually memorize, where my association with letters and things are more so like seeing it over and over. I think this is something I've taken in from all these videos and stuff I've been listening to, or like, yeah, you should be reading it, you should be like writing it out. I have a buddy that says write it out, and it's like, but I just want to read it. I just want to be able to read it, because like once I'm able to read it and like kind of verbiage things, right, vocalize my thoughts, then I can structure that. And I guess for me, like coming from Portuguese, my second language, I think I can think in Portuguese, not Spanish. But the irony there is that I took Spanish, so I know how to write Portuguese, and then German is exactly like English. So structurally, now in like how everything flows. So like the whole like language, how we speak, how we think, how we like work out our language is damn near identical to German, which I find very funny. Right, English is kind of this conglomeration of Latin and Germanic kind of I want to say texts, but like language patterns. Granted, I am talking on my ass here, but I know some of like the kind of outer portions, the shells of it, right? So with that, how do I learn to think in Japanese? How do I deductively connect this to this to this, right? Like women are interesting. Ona no hito ga omoroi or something like that, or onorishi. I think it was ona no hito ga onorishi. Onorishi. I'm butchering it, but granted, this is the second day of listening, or well, I guess this will be the third day, where I'm going through this one lady's Japanese lessons, whatever, organic Japanese playlist. There's like 90 something. And I think for Lent, it's just like, since I'm giving up these things that kind of hold me down productivity wise, especially while like, you're waiting on a trade in my business, right? There's a sense where it's like, you want to be productive, but at the same time, there's a certain level of me where it's like leisure is like aristocratic, right? The Romans weren't working every single day for 8 hours straight, 10 hours straight, whatever. There's some level of me that's like, I understand this. I'm willing to work on my own company for 40, 100 hours a week. But for someone else, it's kind of different. But then again, I have the same problem, at least with my stuff, the company stuff, that it all depends on the freaking market. And that's kind of what threw me into the trajectory of events contracts. I haven't discussed the distribution of like bets, basically. But I think part of me was like, well, what's the point if they're all just normally distributed? Most of it's going to be on close to like what's most probable, or what market believes is probable. And obviously, it looks like, at least from what I've seen in the last couple of weeks, months, whatever. Well, I guess not weeks, but for at least 2 weeks I haven't been trading those. But overall, like, they're pretty normally distributed across the board when it comes towards expiration. But obviously, the outcome's basically guaranteed at that point. So I would assume. I mean, it just makes sense, right? People are betting, oh, this is 90%, right? Everything else is now worthless or worth pennies on the dollar. So that's it. That's all I got for this week. Not much update in general. I hope next week will be a little more interesting for y'all. I know that this will be an interesting time here, but check out the haircut. So anyway, like, subscribe, comment below, ring the bell, whatever. If you're on Instagram, I'll see your stuff over the weekends probably. I'm thinking with Lent, it's just kind of like, maybe take pot shots at Instagram or whatever. I don't know. You could distribute like 12 minutes a day for the weekdays, or just check it out on the weekends. But that'll be different. That'll be a different story. I don't know. Whatever. Bye. Thank you.